My university's most respected professor had a dark secret. I'm the reason it came out. Dr. Vega ran the psychology department like it belonged to him. In a way, it kind of did. He'd been there longer than most of the staff, had tenure which meant he basically couldn't be fired, and knew every dean by first name. Students who got on his good side got opportunities handed to them. Students who didn't just quietly disappeared from the program. Everyone treated him like he was untouchable because he was. 22 years of complaints that went nowhere taught people to stop complaining. By the time I showed up as a freshman, warning new students about him wasn't even a secret anymore. It was just part of how things worked. The first story I heard was about a girl named Melanie. Supposedly she was one of his top students a few years back. Straight A's, headed for a PhD program, everyone said she had a future. Then one semester she just dropped out. No explanation, no goodbye. People said she had a breakdown. Nobody really asked why. The second story came from my roommate's friend. She'd been in his research lab the year before. She told us he liked to have private check-ins with his female students, said he'd comment on how they dressed, ask personal questions, stand a little too close. She laughed when she told us, but it was the kind of laugh that didn't reach her eyes. She switched her major the next semester. The third story I didn't hear, I saw it. There was a girl in my seminar named Angie who started the semester excited to be there. She was smart, asked questions, stayed after class to talk about the readings. By midterms, she stopped coming. When I saw her in the dining hall, she looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. I asked if she was okay. She just shook her head and said she couldn't talk about it. A week later, she withdrew from the class. I told myself I'd be smarter. I'd keep my distance. I only needed his class for my major, nothing more. But he picked me anyway. It started with compliments on my writing, then extra feedback on my papers, then an invitation to discuss my academic future during office hours. I thought I could handle it. I thought I knew what to watch for. The meeting started normal. He asked about my goals, my career plans, then he locked the door. He said he wanted to show me something. He opened his desk drawer and pulled out a pair of handcuffs, real ones, metal. He set them on the desk between us and smiled. He told me this was a trust exercise, that his most successful students understood the importance of vulnerability, that if I wanted his support, I needed to show I was fully committed. He walked over to me and placed his hand on my shoulder. I didn't say anything. I just stood up and walked out. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely turn the door handle. He called after me like nothing happened, said he'd see me in class Thursday. I reported it the next morning. Campus security, Title IX, department chair. Every single one gave me the same look, the same questions. Are you sure that's what happened? Do you have proof? Do you understand what you're accusing him of? 2 weeks later, I lost my research position. My grade in his class dropped from an A to a C. The message was clear. That's when I realized the system was never going to help. So I stopped asking the university for answers. I started asking his victims instead. I spent 3 weeks tracking down every name I could find. Old class rosters, LinkedIn profiles, anonymous Reddit posts, whispered recommendations from people who knew people. I sent hundreds of messages. Most didn't reply, but enough did. I told everyone to meet at his office hours, 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. I got there first. He smiled when he saw me, asked if I'd reconsidered, and placed the cuffs on the table. Then someone else walked in. A girl I'd found on LinkedIn who graduated 5 years ago. His smile flickered. Then another. A senior who'd dropped out of his lab last spring. Then 3 more. Then 10. Then faces I didn't even recognize because they'd found us through whispered group chats and anonymous posts. His office couldn't hold us. We spilled into the hallway. Students, former students, alumni. Some were crying before they even got through the door. Some just stared at him in silence. He tried to laugh it off at first. Asked if this was some kind of prank, but his voice cracked. By the time the department chair showed up to see what was happening, there were 47 of us, all standing together for the first time. He didn't have an explanation. He just kept saying, "This is a misunderstanding," while his hands shook. It wasn't a misunderstanding. Not anymore. The university launched an investigation. 47 victims were exposed. He was fired within a month. The craziest part? During the hearings, we learned his wife was his student 23 years ago.